Rally bikes are cool. They just are. That's why I love things like the Yamaha Tenere so much with its big high fender and rally bike looks. That's why anything that comes out that looks like it's got a nav tower on it makes me feel a bit funny in my tummy. In the world of adventure bikes, rally bikes are the cool kid on the block that we all kind of want to be. Now previously, if you wanted a rally bike, you kind of had to buy the KTM. North of £30,000 is a lot of money to spend for a bike, but not if you're going to go and race the Dakar. If you're intending to race the Dakar, why wouldn't you buy the £30,000+ bike that's been developed at Dakar, won God knows how many Dakars now, and is accepted as the go-to machine if you want to go to that race and get a finish. But let's say you're not doing the Dakar. Let's say you just want something that looks like a rally bike, but you want to use it as a lightweight adventure bike, a bit of trail riding, kind of blatting around on the road and feeling cool. If you want a rally bike, but you've no intention of doing the Dakar, 30 grand's a lot of money to spend. That's where this thing comes in. That bike behind me is a Kove 450 Rally. It's the standard version and comes in at £8,500. Yep, it's a Chinese rally bike. No, I don't think you should hold that against it. It's definitely not the same thing as the KTM 450 Rally Raid. It just isn't. It's not got the same level of componentry, it's not as fast, it's not as well developed. However, what it does do is bring rally looks, rally styling, and a good amount of rally pedigree into a bike that you can afford for under 10 grand, that you can go out and feel super cool riding around the trails on, without feeling like you've wasted a ton of cash on something you're never releasing the full potential of. Now, Kove has finished the Dakar on one of these. Is it an off-the-shelf one exactly as the one behind me there is? Absolutely not. There's a ton of options that Kove themselves offer, where you can buy big radiators, you can buy different cooling kits, oil coolers, you can buy things to hop that one up. So you can't buy one of those and expect it to be competitive at rally racing at that level, at the World Championship stage. But if you wanted to buy one to get into a bit of rally, if you wanted to do some smaller events, and heck, if you just want to buy something that looks like a rally bike and then use it as a trail bike, this thing's well worth a look. So in the interest of science, doing skids and pretending to be rally racers, we've got ourselves a Kove 450 Rally to put through its paces. So we headed to our favourite off-road test track. Fast gravel, grassy ruts, but most importantly beaches and big sand dunes were the perfect way to put this cheap rally bike to the test.
Now, I'm not trying to look at this bike from a rally bike point of view. That's quite a niche market, really. But what I am interested in this Kove 450 from is like the ultimate lightweight adventure bike. There's a lot of talk about that, but just to prove its credentials off-road, we've come to the sand dunes! Whee! Where, as you can see, I've been having a lot of fun already. This thing is got some serious induction noise. It is a long way towards being a credible competition bike. Just enough power on the standard system to do what we want. Whoa, which is I wonder if I can get up that big tune. That'll be the challenge. I've done it a few times, but not from this angle yet. That's pretty impressive. Yeah. That's soft sand now as the day's warming up. That's a hell of a climb. Should we try the big bowl? I think we should try this. The fact that you can make the Kove do this stuff is pretty epic. And I've had a couple of days out trail riding on it. And it's been a really nice trail ride. More speed required. I'm done. That's all I've got. I'm calling that made it. Just a day out with Chris.
So what do you get for your money? Well, for your 8.5 grand, you get a bike with about 50 horsepower, 145 kilos dry weight. I'm using dry weight because the fuel capacity is 31 litres. You are not going to have to stop for fuel very often on this thing. You get proper big suspension. Don't expect any big brands. Don't expect to see Brembo or Öhlins or anything like that. It's Chinese brands, but it's good, basic, and up to the task. You also get a head-up display, which has got the ability to connect phones and all that guff to it. To be honest, I didn't bother with any of that. I used it to turn the ABS on and off, which was great, and to check the time and how late I was going to be getting home. There's a few little details around the Kove that I love, and a few I'm not so keen on. In the Chris loves this detail camp are things like 3 fuel tanks. That's rally bike, that makes me very happy. But also the fact that there's quarter turn fasteners to pop the front fairing and screen off. Now, if you're like me and you quite often chuck your bike in a van to go somewhere, it's a simple case of click, 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 lower the screen down, and it fits in a normal size van without having to actually unbolt things. Tiny little touch, actually very useful. On top of that, there's a quick release to get the seat off. There's also a toolkit stashed in the sump guard and some proper big foot pegs. That's Rally 2. You need big foot pegs because you're going to be stood up going flat out all day. In fact, when you start poking around the Kove, it just looks like a proper rally bike. There's very few bits where you go, oh, that's a bit naff. Absolutely, it's not insanely high quality, nothing's bling finishes, but it does bear close scrutiny, and the more time you spend with it, the more you kind of get excited about it. Now, in the not so good details camp, I have a few things. The tyres it comes on are, yeah, they're okay. They're not great off-road, they're okay on the road, but for actually trail riding regularly and hard, I'd probably either put some good adventure tyres on for a mix of road and off-road, or what this thing's meant for, some proper big enduro knobblies, and just maximise the off-road fun and put up with the road sections. The one big howler that came to me was when I went to check the oil. I looked around the right side of the bike, no dipstick. Left-hand side, still no dipstick. Took the fairings off, still no dipstick, but I found an oil filler cap. Eventually I headed to the Kove website and found a video of a man showing you how to check the oil using a cable tie as a dipstick and then measuring the oil height on the cable tie. Come on, Kove. It is very much like they got the bike to production and they went, how'd you check the oil? And they went, we forgot that bit. Now there are aftermarket fixes for this. The cable tie technique works fine, but that's one of those things where you just think, that was a bit of an oversight. And on my way round to that, I discovered that to take the tank off, you have to take the sump guard off, and you have to take the sump guard and the tank off to get to the proper oil filler cap. So there's a few little fiddly details that they're not showstoppers, but they're just a bit annoying. In terms of the riding experience, it's tall, it's quite stiff, and it does have quite an enduro bike feel to it. Now my one's got the reasonably quiet exhaust system. They do a fully open system that makes it go like a rocket, but it's about as loud as one. But I have got the open air box with the foam filter on top. That again, cool, rally, excellent stuff, really quite annoying when you're trying to use it as an adventure bike.
These are the little bits where I want to try it now as an adventure bike after I've ridden today and see if that induction noise that I love on the beach is infuriating after 4 hours of riding.
So I think I'd definitely consider having a few of those options available, and I'd change them in and out based on what I was intending to do with the bike that week. But on a long, constant throttle ride, that airbox noise does get dull. You need earplugs if you're going to ride this bike for any distance. But again, all these little rally niggles, the fact that it's really tall, the fact that the seat's stiff, the fact that the suspension's pretty stiff, kind of is forgivable because look at it. It's a rally bike. If you want a practical, sensible, lightweight adventure bike, get a CRF 300 Rally. Get the Vosges 300 Rally if you want the cheap Chinese version. Go and find a DRZ 400 and put a tower on it. There's so many more sensible options. I don't think you buy one of these as a sensible option. You buy one of these because you want a big stupid rally bike, and all the big stupid rally bike things that are hard work, you forgive because it's what you want and it looks cool. And when you're wide open, flat out across rough terrain, tucked down behind that screen, it does give you that proper Dakar fantasy in a way more authentic way than all of the big twin cylinder adventure bikes that are pretending to be rally bikes in disguise. This thing is a proper exciting bit of kit. How well it lasts in the long run, which is everyone's favourite question when it comes to riding alternative bikes, bikes not from the mainstream manufacturers. That is one of the big questions. Now, I've been riding it for the last 6 months or so, not had any problems yet. There's been a few niggly things, like I managed to break one of the mirror stalks off because the thread rounded off, but generally, it's been okay. So on the surface of it, the Kove Rally 450 is an absolute hit. It's value for money, it gives me proper excited goosebumps every time I look at it in my garage, and performance-wise off-road, it lives up to the task. No, I'm not going to be replacing a big GS with one of them to ride across the country. It would be hard work to do a 400-mile ride on it. However, it can do it, and if you're prepared to have that extra bit of endurance about you, you can have yourself a really good epic day out. Now, as a trail bike that looks really cool, that's where it sits really well for me. I've really enjoyed just using it as a green laning, local 100, 200 mile days out, and put up with the fact that it's too tall, and the fact that it's a little bit aggressive and snappy, and the fact that it's quite loud when you're cruising back home at night, because I'm making those sacrifices to ride a cool adventure bike, in the same way that I used to put up with aching wrists and a bad back to ride a sports bike everywhere. You suffer for your fun. Now, next job is to put it through a lot more abuse. The big question everyone has about alternative manufacturer bikes, i.e. not your mainstream motorcycle manufacturers, is will it last, can I get parts? Everything I've ordered I've got pretty quick for the Kove so far, so that at the moment I'm happy with. Again, time will tell. But what I really want to do is ride it hard, ride it through winter, do some abusive enduro racing on it, and see how well it holds up over the next year or so. Then we'll be able to see whether that is really the bargain that it looks like.